Greetings, my champions of the light, and welcome back to another episode of Light Be With You, a classic WoW hardcore challenge where we must always follow the holy commandments. We must harm no creatures. We must sacrifice ourselves for others, doing everything within reason to save lives. And we must never beg for help or ask for aid. However, my disciples, a terrible realization has come upon me. Our brother in the light,
Dérallie-nous.
has seen that in my hour of need, I did actually in fact call for aid. And as you know, this breaks a holy commandment. And to be honest, my friends, I am most pleased that our brother in the light has shone the holy light upon this crime. And as some of you may know, in our first episode, I did mention that if we break a holy commandment, we must seek penance by donating half of our entire wealth to the less fortunate. And my friends, after praying to the holy light, I have come to the realization that I must honor the holy commandments. And so, my friends, before we venture to the Deadmines, I must make things right. And following some quick calculations, that would reduce my 6 gold, 30 silver, and 38 coppers quite drastically down to 3 gold, 15 silver, and 19 copper. And although this does feel quite bad, I know that it is the right thing to do. For if I do not stick to the holy commandments, I can hardly call myself a priest of the holy light. And so, my friends, we venture out into Elwyn Forest. In Goldshire, I try to make contact with some adventurers, but it appears they do not have the time of day to allow me to give them free money. I even try to explain my plight to this gnome, but it turns out they're not having any of it. If only these fools knew that I was literally trying to give them my gold. However, my friends, not all of my fellow countrymen are quite so dismissive of a priest of the holy light. I give away 1 gold coin, and I cleanse myself of some of the evil that festers within my soul. I bless them with the light and wish them a merry day. Fortunately, I do come across a rogue of all people, who actually offers to help me cleanse the evil from my soul, and I hand over 1 golden coin. And my disciples, I can already feel the light surging within me once more. Just imagine for a moment, my friends, if I had not cleansed myself of this evil, it would surely have corrupted my soul and turned me to the dark side. It even turns out that some of these adventurers, well, they are actually solo self-found, and even if I wanted to trade them my free money, I am not able to. Eventually, my friends, I do come across a night elf warrior, and it turns out they are willing to accept my holy gift, and I give away the remainder of the gold. And now that we have proved ourselves to the holy light and to ourselves, and you, my disciples, I believe that no matter what, the light will protect us. And this time, my friends, we are venturing into the Deadmines for reals. That is right, this time, my friends, I am going to have to hold my own. And so, my friends, as we venture into Westfall, I list myself in the Deadmines looking for group. And as I'm sure you've noticed, this time there are plenty more adventurers looking to conquer the Deadmines. And unlike last time, at level 19, I believe it will be easy to find ourselves a group. And a short while later, the paladin Aldemir sends me an invite to his group. And after a short while, the paladin actually ends up inviting a level 25 dwarf hunter. I am quite pleased, as it will surely help to have a higher level adventurer on our team. I even notice a tank in the group finder. I let Aldemir know, however, he doesn't seem to be paying attention, and before long, we've missed our opportunity, and the tank has disappeared. And a little while later, a rogue adventurer joins our Deadmines run. We simply need a tank, and we are good to go. But as you know, my friends, from our last Deadmines adventure, it is not easy to find a tank in these trying times. And can you honestly blame anyone? As a tank, you are likely to be the first to perish when things go wrong. And we wait around for a long time, and then it is revealed by the Dwarf Hunter, the Onyxia buff will be dropping in Stormwind City. And apparently it's happening soon, so we had best make our ways to Stormwind City. The Onyxia buff is quite a powerful spell, and it lasts a good amount of time. And the Onyxia buff is actually designed for level 60 adventurers. And because at low levels this buff does not scale, it actually significantly powers up low-level characters. And this is sure to benefit us greatly in the Deadmines. And while we wait for the Onyxia buff to drop in Stormwind City, I collect the herbs from my bank, and I take the opportunity to do some much-needed alchemy. And I use the Briarthorn that we have collected on our journeys to level up our alchemy skill quite significantly. Unfortunately, it turns out that all these adventurers gathered in Stormwind City, including myself, let's just say we had all been fooled. As the champions who were supposed to be dropping the Onyxia buff, let's just say they actually tricked everyone, and they were not going to do it after all. And this was too much for the paladin Aldemir, and he decided to go offline. A significant amount of time passed, and our group was no longer listed. However, what do you know, it turns out the paladin had luckily made me the group leader. I decide that if I don't take up the reins and lead this group through the Deadmines, we would go another week without a proper Deadmines adventure. And so, my friends, I remove Aldemir from the group, and I relist us. And what do you know, before long I find a level 24 mage in the group finder. And after they have given us permission to invite them, we now have replaced the level 17 Aldemir with a level 24 mage, and I must say, my friends, this is quite the upgrade. There is only one thing we need now, and that is to find a tank. And my friends, as I open up the group finder, I realize that there are actually no tanks signed up, and it turns out we are not the only group searching for a tank. I have no choice, my friends. I search for level 19 to 24 warriors. Fortunately, I do actually come across a warrior who seems eager to join, and when I mention that we no longer have any mail wearers in our group, the warrior asks for an invite. And now that our group is formed, I know that time is of the essence. We must make haste to the Deadmines before anyone changes their mind about this Deadmines adventure. I make my way back towards Moonbrook, and while playing around with the locals, the last member of our Deadmines group arrives. The 5 of us venture into the Deadmines portal. This is an appropriately leveled group. Well, mostly anyway. There is no one to save me if things go wrong. And so I must ensure that as a holy priest, that I maintain the health of my allies. And I am pleased to see that the warrior tank seems to be quite the expert, opting for throwing knives to pull small groups of enemies one at a time. And with the rest of the group coordinated, I utilize my lesser heal and renew spells, and we are able to bring down Rexor. And my disciples, I notice that with my rested bonus XP, I earn more than an entire quest from defeating a single boss. And provided I have my rested bonus XP, I believe that going forward, dungeons will be very lucrative indeed. When the mage comes under assault, I activate a power word shield, preventing the Defias thugs from interrupting the mage's blizzard attack. And of course we are able to make it to the second boss, Sneed, and it is here that I begin to encounter some potential problems. And so, my friends, between every pull, I take every opportunity to sip on some melon juice and restore my mana. We make it into the Goblin Foundry, and I am pleased to see that the warrior is pulling these goblins in a very controlled manner. And unlike our first Deadmines adventure, it is clear that this is how it is supposed to be done. We make it to the third boss, Gilnid, and before long he is defeated as well. We use the Defias' cannon against them, and blow open the door to their shipyard.
Check out that noise.
And honestly, my friends, this group appears so organized that we easily take on multiple groups of these Defias pirates simultaneously. Finally, my friends, we make it to Mr. Smite, and it is clear that Mr. Smite does not hold back. And at one point I almost lose the warrior. Fortunately, my friends, after a near-death experience, the warrior tank does have the foresight to equip a shield, and the remainder of the battle goes a lot more smoothly. And next up, my friends, we do battle with the Murloc Chef Cookie. And what do you know, his poison splash attack is easily countered by my Holy Renew spell. And for most situations, my friends, it turns out simply popping a Renew spell is all I need to do to keep my allies alive. And along the way, I even come across a new pair of gloves. A small upgrade, but I'm not complaining. And it is here, my friends, that I decide to stay back. However, this time there is no trifling gnome to pull additional Defias bandits. And so we make it through quite smoothly. And after clearing this section of the shipyard, I level to level 20. My faith in the light is truly restored. And just like that, my friends, our true Deadmines adventure has been completed. And what do you know? I even happen upon a very powerful upgrade, the Corsair's Overshirt. And for any clothwearer venturing into the Deadmines, this is a very well sought after item. The generous offerings that we had made to the light earlier in the episode have truly brought fruition, and we have been blessed by not only a very comfortable and smooth Deadmines adventure, but also a very powerful upgrade. And so, my disciples, this is why you should always honor the Holy Light, for you will surely receive just rewards for your sacrifice. Speaking of kindness, it turns out some of the adventurers here, well, they needed those miners cards from the undead miners, and it seemed like a perfect opportunity to pay the light's kindness forward. And with only a few adventurers here still needing the miners cards, we are able to finish the quest. As we leave Moonbrook, I am most pleased that we were able to do a proper Deadmines adventure. And now that we are level 20, there is still one very important thing that we must do. I take a moment to vendor, and we've made over a gold from our adventure in the Deadmines, and we are surely going to need that coin for our next task. I venture to Stormwind City and to the Cathedral of Light. And my friends, for reaching level 20, the High Priestess offers us a very interesting spell indeed. You see, my friends, feedback is an interesting spell indeed. The feedback spell applies a thorns-like aura around the priest, causing any hostile spellcaster to be damaged by the feedback whenever they inflict spell damage against me. It does beg the question. Please comment below if you believe using the feedback spell would be breaking the holy commandments. And what do you know, another very useful spell for a priest like me. Shackle Undead will cause no damage, but can lock an undead fiend in place for 30 seconds. And finally, my friends, another pacifist favorite. Mind Soothe allows me to reduce the range that humanoid creatures can detect me. And this will surely come in handy in the future as well, as it will allow me to go places that no priest has ever gone before. And with that, my friends, we have come to the end of this episode. Please consider subscribing. Your support means the world to me, second only to the Holy Light, of course. And always remember, light be with you.